In the fictional town of Derry, Maine, there's a creature there. A creature that uses your fear to feed on. And that creature is known as Pennywise the clown. It. And that's why we're here, to do the original 1990 It filming locations.
Our first real opening shot for It, after we see the pictures and this and that, is starting to rain, and we hear it's an itsy bitsy spider climb up the water spout being sung by a little girl that's riding her red tricycle. The camera would zoom in on that tricycle as she rode by. When it cuts to the next camera shot, we see this house and the little girl making this curve and going right around here.
Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain.
After we see the little girl around the sidewalk, you see a mom going right up these steps. Now this has been added on because these would have just been steps going into the house. And she turns and she says, "Come on, Lori Ann, it's starting to rain." The camera would then be on those steps shooting back this way. Now, in the film, there's no fence. This is all open. And we believe they've added this fence here because there's now a bus stop right here at the backyard of this house. But as the camera pans around and it shows the little girl, Lori Ann, bringing her bike into the backyard, you can actually see this soccer field on the other side. Now, there's no fence there, it's just wide open with two soccer goals, but that is in the shot in the background.
Come on, Lori Ann, it's gonna storm.
And it's here in this backyard that Lori Ann would come face to face with Pennywise hiding in the laundry that's hanging up on the clothesline, thus becoming what seems to be Pennywise's first victim since he's back. Hi. Now Bill has just gotten a call from Mike saying that it's back, and he knows that because he found a picture of George. Bill goes upstairs and shuts the door and says, "Georgie." And we hear piano music, and we see the camera pan across a white house with purple trim. And the camera would go up to this bay window where we see Bill's mom playing the piano. And then as it lifts up the house, it goes into Bill's room where Georgie is trying to get Bill to come outside and play with him, or make him a boat. He makes him the boat. Georgie goes outside and would eventually meet his demise. He's playing with his boat, the SS Georgie. He's running not on the sidewalk, but right down the grass here, with the boat kind of flowing right up against this curb. And right here would be the yellow barricade that he would actually go under as the boat keeps going. And he's gonna keep running right down here, right where Renee's running, doing her best Georgie impression. What's he say?
SS Georgie.
And he sees the drain coming up, and he's like, "Oh no." And it's right here at the intersection, I guess. It's not a one-way intersection, but it's 3rd Street and Liverpool Street. And in the shot, because the camera is shooting at this angle right here, Georgie's here. As the boat goes, you can actually see this garage, and there would be some more yellow barricades right through here, but you can see this post. You can't see the street sign, but you can see the post, yellow barricades right through here, and this garage door. And it would be this drain right here that the SS Georgie would fall into, and it would be this drain right here where little Georgie would meet Pennywise the clown. Now we're supposed to be in New York City to see Adult Ben's apartment, but really we're still here in the Vancouver area in Canada. Now as the limo, standing up all high, they a little shaky, but as the limo, Ben's limo is coming down this way, you can actually see this garage door and these windows. Where this car is and this one is 13 and 14. And you can see that as the limo's pulling over right here. You can actually see 13 and 14 where it stops. Ben would get drunkenly out of the car with his date, and over his shoulder you can see this parking garage. He opens the door to this bay door here and says, "Hello, can you go?" And we'll go on into his nice, luxurious New York apartment.
Here you are, my good man. Recycle.
Here, wait, I have that magic,
Come on, honey. You're Limbo. How low can you go?
It's after school, and we see Ben walking up between these two cement pillars that are now overgrown with bushes. There's no gate here. But he would be standing right about where Renee's standing, looking out in my direction.
Boys and girls, I want you to be careful.
The camera cuts to Ben's point of view, and we see it pan across. We can see the grass on this side, this curvy walkway. And when it gets here, it flips back to a closer shot of Ben where you can see the school better behind him. But as you can tell, all of this since the movie is overgrown. They've put a gate up here. The bushes have not been trimmed back. And now there's a giant tree right next to the walkway. Because in the shot, you can actually see the road running this way and a road running this way. Unfortunately, you can't see that now. You can see a little bit of it, but not anything like you can in the movie. After we see Ben look around and we see the curved path, we see Beverly kind of come up behind Ben from his right. She introduces herself. We get a shot kind of like this. Then we have two snot-nosed girls come through talking about, some people, Dad's a janitor. The camera gets a little closer to Ben and Beverly, but what we see in the background is the school. Now, you can't really see the top of it like this, but you can see all of these windows. We can see this row of windows here. We can see here. We can see the steps and the white at the bottom. So you really get a good shot like this of the school. And then Ben walks on home, repeating Beverly Marsh's name. He's in love.
He's in love.
Like this place so well, you're gonna stand there all day? School's over, you know.
Excuse us, please. Can we get through? Honestly, Warnie, some people have no class. Some people have janitors for parents.
The first time I saw it, I was in my 20s, and I remember one night I asked you, I said, hey, let's watch it, because you had the 2-disc version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, let's watch this movie. I've never seen it before. And I said, did these go in a certain order? Like, because it had nothing on the disc. And you're like, no, it doesn't. So I put disc 2 in. And I didn't say anything, but I'm confused the entire time. Then about halfway through that second disc, you're like, wait a minute.
This ain't right.
We missed the whole first part.
Missed like the whole first series. Like the first hour and a half. I first saw it whenever I was young. I think like probably when it came on TV. Because I remember it being a 2-part series. It was like the first half, the first part came on like a Friday night, and the second part was Saturday night or Saturday, Sunday type thing. I don't know. I was younger, so, but I do remember whenever it came on TV, and I was like, it was freaky. It was so scary. Then that freaking was at the end when Pennywise turns into the giant spider looking thing, and you're like so freaking terrified. Probably why I'm still scared of spiders. Like one's gonna mutate into a giant one, but it looked so real back then. You're like, oh my God, this thing's so freaky. Ben has just met Beverly Marsh at school, and he's walking on me. He keeps repeating Beverly Marsh, and we see him leave the school, and then the camera picks him up right where Renee's at, just past that hydrant. We can see this drainage area and this hydrant. Now, unfortunately, the housing and this area has completely changed, but he would get right about here, and he sees Henry and the guys over here, and they're like, what's up, fat boy?
Beverly Marsh, Beverly Marsh, Beverly Marsh, Beverly Marsh, Beverly Marsh.
Hey, look, it's the fat boy. Top the day, fat boy.
And Henry and one of the guys will be standing up against a white picket fence that's no longer here, right in this general area, when another one would grab him and kind of drag him right down through here. Now, you can't see these. I don't know if they're new or if the camera just wasn't low enough, but you can see the shade coming off of a lot of trees and a little bit of a power pole, just for a split second. He drags him over here. Henry acts like he's gonna cut him. The guys aren't sure about that. Ben kicks Henry and breaks through the white picket fence, and he would have actually rolled down. And when he rolls down the hill, he's supposed to show up where the bridge is, where they build the dam later on in the movie. But in reality, that's nowhere near where we're at.
Huh? Cut him? Let's see. First comes. Oh, God. You're gonna die! You're dead!
Ben's in his room writing the poem for Beverly. When his cousin walks in and snatches it out of his hands and starts making fun of it, Ben takes it back, throws the cousin on the bed and starts punching him in the ribs and gets in trouble. And it's on this side porch here where Ben and his mom would be having a talk. She wants him to apologize. He says he hates it here. If his dad was still alive, they wouldn't be treating him like this. And he would jump this rail, get his bike, and when we see him, we actually see him go past this driveway and this power pole.
They wouldn't treat us like this if Daddy were still alive.
Come on inside now and apologize.
Apologize, but he was...
Benny, you must.
Oh, I hate it here. I hate it here.
And you get a shot kind of like this, because in the shot we can see this, the branches of this tree, you can see the stop sign, you can see this power pole. Most importantly, what sets it up is this brick column here with this fence. You can also see the brick wall. What's changed is these bushes. There used to be a fence that ran in this direction in the shot. And you see Ben kind of riding his bike straight across this street over here. So he kind of, right, because you can see the sidewalk. The camera is up a little higher now, so don't hold that against us. But you can see the road is a four-way stop, and he goes straight, rides in that direction as the camera fades out.
Penny!
You don't really see it too much in the movie, but this is what Ben's aunt's house would have looked like, because you really only get Ben's room and then the porch right here. But this would have been his dad's sister's house. It's a pretty nice little house. So the camera starts out panning these houses before we see Beverly walk up to her old house and ring the buzzer. It still looks the exact same, only in the movie the color was red. Still got the same numbers over the door, 417 and 419. This is Beverly's house growing up. We see her come back and actually ring the buzzer that says Marsh. Only her dad doesn't come to the door. But the lady's nice enough to tell her dad's been dead for 5 years now.
There's no Marsh here. Unless... You don't mean Alvin Marsh.
Yes, my father.
Oh, miss. I hate to be the one to have to tell you this, a stranger, but your father's been dead this last 5 years.
Now, there's no buzzers on the door here, but she would go in and she would go into the same bathroom from her childhood when the blood would come up through the sink. Only this time, as she's getting ready to drink her tea that Miss Kirsch has offered her, she sees that it's filled with blood, and she finds out that Miss Kirsch is not Miss Kirsch at all, with the black teeth, and she looks all zombified. But when she runs out of the house, she would run right into the middle of the road right here. And we can see this house that would be white in the movie. And you can see this kind of little alleyway looking driveway. And she would look back at the house and see Pennywise cracking himself up before he goes back inside. And it would be number 417, this door right here. That's Beverly's house. The Pennywise slips right on back in. Now, while she's in the middle of the road here, from my left would be a bread truck that almost runs her over. She steps out of the way. A yellow balloon would hit her ankles and then start floating down this way. You can hear laughter in the background. You can see kind of a side shot of this building right where my finger's at as the balloon's bouncing down the road. Now, when Ben drops the poem off at Beverly's house, he would actually hide next to this house. The other house to his left is not there anymore, but it would sit like this, and he's crouched down over here watching as she comes and gets the poem. And it's there that she also sees her run scared from her father down this street and hide in the bush right next to this building. Now, this house is a different color now and has been remodeled with glass on the side, windows, instead of it being solid like in the movie. But little Ben would hide right there. After Beverly's dad rips up the poem and she runs off in this direction, and Ben finds her and they go hang out with the gang. Bill and Ben are walking Beverly home, and they actually be coming down this alley right here next to Beverly's house. And Bill, catch you later alligator, and he actually peels off right down this sidewalk. You can see these houses in the shot as he leaves.
So I'll go this way. See you later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile.
I see you, Bill. Hi-yo, Silver! Away!
Beverly would go back in here, and Ben, as he's walking away, stops right here at these two sewer covers and looks back. And the camera picks up the house across the street. We're gonna get you that shot. So Renee's standing right about in the middle of a busy street where Ben would be, and the camera's looking back like this as Ben's looking at Beverly. But you can see this house and both of these manhole covers in the shot. Renee has found her a snail. Probably. So in case y'all couldn't hear Renee, she said people probably think she's taking a dump right here. Now this is where Beverly would be hiding, and Ben finds her after her dad slaps her and tears the poem up. And you see the bushes are well trimmed, but they wouldn't be in the shot. They would actually be a little more overgrown. But it's a tight shot, and then as it spins around, we see Ben kind of bending over right here, and you can see a car coming by between his legs here. But just past his right arm, you can see this house right here. Now this house will be more of a whitish color. Right now it's like tie-dyed, but the shot's kind of like this. And we see Beverly, Ben, and this house, because you can see how the part of it juts out.
Haven't you got anything better to do than go sneaking up on people?
Sorry.
For this next shot, we're supposed to be in Great Neck, New York, at Adult Eddie's house, but really we're still in the Vancouver area. Now this house you see right there in the distance with the stripe, that's his house. And it's a private driveway, it's a long driveway, and you really only get one good shot. You can see the top of the house right here in the shot, and it's where Eddie's getting ready to go back to Derry, and he's still living with his mama, and his mama's like, yeah, there's nothing for you in that dirty town. And he's like, I gotta go, and he gets in the car and like speeds down the driveway, and that's it. That's all you really get of this house. I'm gonna try to get a different shot from the driveway if it's open. If not, this is about all we're gonna be able to get for you guys.
Eddie, where are you?
So the shot from the top of the house across the road is the only shot I can get for you. I went to the driveway to get a better shot. And of course, the landscape at this particular house that's supposed to be Adult Eddie, the landscape in front of the house has changed. Looks like they've added more bushes or couple more trees or something, because I know you used to get the little garage and part of the house from the driveway. You can't anymore. really sucks. Adult Eddie has left his house, headed back to Derry, and we get a flashback of an event that happened here at this Paramount movie theater. Now in the theater, they're watching I Was a Teenage Werewolf. The Beverly and the guys are sitting up on the second balcony, or in the balcony, you know, second row, whatever story. And Eddie accidentally kicks the popcorn off on Henry and his goons. They want to leave, and young Richie tells them, why are you paying to watch a monster movie? You can just stay at home and look in the mirror for free, and then drops his entire drink on Henry and his goons.
They saw me.
You better go.
If I were you guys, I wouldn't pay to see a monster movie. I'd just stay home and look in the mirror.
They will come running out of this Paramount movie theater. You can see I Was a Teenage Werewolf and the times here. You can see Paramount. Now these banisters here would not be there, and this building would be white. The windows here are almost the same because the shot would actually block the top like this. They've just had a little bar added in the middle of them. But we can see this light pole here. And the guys actually, and Beverly, actually run down this way, and as the camera pans, we see them cut down this road, which back then would have been a one-way street. It's now a two-way. And the building that's here in the shot has since been torn down. But they would run right down this sidewalk against the building, and just before getting to this road at the bottom, the camera fades out and cuts to another scene.
Let's get out of here! Yeah, let's go! Poke on his head.
Oh, did you?
So one thing that is funny in the film, you know, the theater was an actual theater, but now it's a gentleman's club.
But they kept the name,
Yeah.
Paramount Gentlemen's Club.
So you used to could be able to come watch a movie here. Now you can come watch titties.
And get couch dances. We see Pennywise in an old photo album, and I cannot get my camera up as high as that that's in the picture. But what we can see is Renee's standing right about where Pennywise's picture was taken, and we can see these windows in the shot here. Now, what's different is there's a lamp, like a light post, that's supposed to be right here, just past this window, that is not here in real life. But we know this window is here. Pennywise is walking towards the camera right here, and over his shoulder we can see this building, we can see this building, and we can see this building. And there's like some flowers right here. Lamppost would be covering this up in the shot, kind of like this almost. Anyway, so it's an up high shot, but this is your Pennywise in the photo booth shot, or this is your Pennywise picture that's in the photo album. This is your shot of the outside of the Derry Community Library that actually would have been a sign hanging right here. Now, in actuality, this is, I believe, a private school. And you can see this gate in front of me. Now, either this wasn't here and they built all this up, or they just shot from inside, because you can actually see a sidewalk that you can see in the shot right in front of the steps. And Bill would have been standing right about here looking up at this angle. You also see this shot again when Richie pulls up in front of the library and gets out, and he's going in to look for Mike, and unfortunately Mike is not here. He's out with Bill. Now the interior for the library was not shot here. The interior is actually shot at another location, which we went by earlier to actually get the interior shots, but it's no longer any form of a library. It's now actually owned by somebody else, and they were in there kind of remodeling it, so doing a lot of construction work inside of it, so we couldn't get in there to shoot it. But just know this was the exterior of the Derry Community Library, interior shot on another location.
May I help you?
Mike Hanlon.
He stepped out a short while ago. I'm pretty sure he's coming back.
Good.
So Bill's just gotten back into town, right? And he's met up with Mike, and they're here in this location, this street. And Bill's slowly starting to get his memory back from being here.
He says, I remember this was Poor Town.
Right? And Mike says, yeah, it still is. Now, over their shoulder when they're talking is, you can see something in the background that's later on in the film where they fix the bike up and they're riding around and playing it. It's actually right behind you. Because in this shot, you can see the same fence. You can see the soccer goals that are right here, and the school still is the exact same color. And it's over in that playground where they would have been riding the bikes and reminiscing, playing, and you see the flashbacks between them being young and old.
Well, at least people seem to care now. Or maybe it's just that I'm a grown-up now.
I feel so thick, Mike. I don't remember much of it at all, what we did. I don't even remember why I came back, except for Georgie.
And where we're standing is right across the road from Mike's house. Bill would have actually, I believe his car would have been parked right here. And this is the house that Mike would have went into after saying that this place is still Poor Town.
How embarrassing was that? Like, I was embarrassed for both of them, for him saying, I remember this Poor Town. And then he's like, it's yours, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it is.
He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm a bachelor, you know. It's all I need.
She was poor. Her father was the janitor. This was Poor Town.
Yeah, still is.
Yours?
The house still looks the exact same. It's a little lighter shade of blue, and the shutters are white instead of green, but you can still see this design right here, because you wouldn't have seen this much of the house. You would have seen it like that when Mike's kind of walking up to the front door after he says that he's a bachelor. So just over there is Mike's house. You actually see them start out riding right through this field across from it. And they would come in here. You see the jungle gym in the background over here that's been updated, where they're playing a little bull and Mike hits himself in the face with his jacket. I don't really see any more seesaws that Mike would have rode the bike up.
It was completely normal for two grown men to be butts to nuts like that riding that bike. I'm just saying. What would you think if you saw that? Like riding down the road, like, what are these two doing?
Like, what are these dummies doing?
You know, all the while, Bill with that sweet pony.
Yeah, he had that sweet. Never pulled it up high. It was always a low. It was always a low ponytail.
I wonder if that was a fake pony because it looked fake.
Could have been. When Ben's older and coming back to Derry, he's in a taxi. He actually comes right through here, and he has the taxi pull over just past the end of this bridge. There would have been a stop sign here. And he says, wait for me, will you? And gets out and actually goes under the bridge as he's remembering stuff from his childhood.
Pull over here, will you? Wait for me.
Here is the trail going down underneath the bridge that you see several times in Stephen King's It. the original. This would have been, like I said, the bridge up here is where Ben would have made the cab pull over and wait. It's very nice down here, very nice area. So John Ritter, aka Ben, would have walked right through here, and right around in this area he would have been down by the stream. Now all of this is overgrown now, but you can still hear the water running. You can see it a little bit. And he's thinking back on his childhood when he hears people running through here, and it's some bullies chasing a kid that looks a lot like him whenever he was younger. And for a split second, Ben sees young Henry's face, and he's remembering of the time when Henry and his goons was chasing and bullying him. But it turns out it's not a flashback, because the boys would jump through here and actually push the boy down in the middle of the road, about where Renee's standing. And they call him Fat Boy, and they run off and everything. And Ben would actually walk up to this young kid and bend down, wipe the blood off with a handkerchief. He's like, "Oh, I'm glad you had that thing to help me out." And the boy would go on about his business.
Lucky for me, you have that hanky thing.
Be prepared. Here, why don't you just keep it?
I think I'll be okay now.
We're here underneath the bridge, and it's in this location also that the kids are rebuilding their dam. They're gonna dam up this creek so they have them a swimming hole. And you see the front part of the bridge in a few shots over Ben's shoulder as looks like he's kind of supervising the gang, making sure they're, building somebody that's, So if we walk back out here, it looks like they may be damming it up.
Oh, Jesus, come here and look at this. Get this on video. That snail.
That's a giant slug.
Oh, God.
Look at the size of that slug. That thing's huge.
Like, that's longer than my hand.
Yeah. That's a giant slug. So, it must be right in this area here. We wanted to show you where the creek was running. We were just standing right here. But it must be in this area here, because over Ben's shoulder a couple times you get a glimpse of the bridge.
Alright, it's alright. Say it's alright. When lights are low.
So my guess is, seeing as how once they get it dammed up and the camera's zooming out, you don't see the bridge anymore. My guess is they have dammed it up and the camera's shooting back in this direction. That way you don't get the bridge again. That's just my guess. As you can tell, it's overgrown and it's no marker saying it was filmed here. Like, that would be really helpful.
Yes, it is. It's great. We stopped that stuff cold.
Yeah, it's great. We could flood out the whole Barrens if we wanted to.
Yeah. We did it. We.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, this isn't the drain pipe that Ben hides in when being chased by Henry and his goons, but it is close to the bridge, which is where the pipe would have been once he kicks Henry and rolls down the hill. And he would have rolled down in this area in front of the bridge that you can briefly see. He would have crawled into a drain pipe a little bigger than that. It would have actually been up more on a hill and a little more in this direction.
Nobody kicks me! Come on back, nobody! You better run, boy! You're gonna die, man! Come on, let's get him! You're dead, fat pig!
We see this bridge in several shots throughout the film. You see it when Ben's getting chased after he rolls down the hill and goes in the pipe. You see it whenever they're building the dam. When they're going to fight Pennywise in his lair, you see them come from the bridge and walk in the direction that I'm walking now. Now, this trail does take you to the lake, but it's not just right here. It's not bridge, walk a little bit, and you're at the lake and Pennywise's lair. It's not too bad of a walk. It's a good scenic area. But once you get to the area of the lake that you pop out from this trail, you have to take a left and continue walking. Probably, if I had to guess, maybe a couple hundred yards before you actually got to where they would have had Pennywise's lair located in the movie. In this next shot, we get Eddie, adult Eddie. He's back in Derry and he's pulled up in a taxi right here. And as he gets out, you can see this building over his shoulder. You can also see it again when he's like, oh hell, time does fly by, or time does really pass, or something like that. But as he's looking towards the drugstore, which is behind Renee, the drugstore would actually be right here. Now this building has been completely remodeled because the drugstore would have actually come out and then went across. It wouldn't cut in here. And the door that we see the old gentleman coming out of when adult Eddie is looking at it, the door would have been right here. And the shot that we get is just like this. We see the old man come out to this pole and hit the button to be able to cross the street. And on this side, this part of the building, which is actually next to the movie theater, is a completely different building with a completely different store name.
Oh hell, time does go by.
Here outside the Chinese restaurant where the gang has met back up. Well, everyone but Stan. Now the only part of the movie that you see is the sign. Now the sign has changed since the movie. Everything else was interior shots. But I am going to show you the outside of the restaurant that they would have been reminiscing, drinking, eating, getting their memory back until Pennywise shows up and ruins everything. Here's a shot of what the exterior of the restaurant would have looked like. I bet they got some good food and good times, because it seemed like they were having a blast in the movie until Pennywise's self shows up and just completely ruins everything, and they go running out of the restaurant. The gang has just left the Chinese restaurant with their encounter, the horrible encounter they had there. They're back at the library, and Mike just calls to check on Stan. He's the only one that hasn't shown up. And it's then that the gang finds out Stan's died, took his own life. And so they start reminiscing. And Bill says Stan was the last one of us to see it that summer. It was in August. He comes running out terrified. Me and him zipped away on the bike. And he says that Stan told him he was out bird watching, and he started hearing this voice. And he didn't mean to go into the house, but the voice just kept beckoning him, and it's like he couldn't control it. And he goes in, and Stan sees the mummy and tears out of there, sees Bill, and they ride off on the bike. Behind me is the house. Now, I think it's privately owned. The front door is open, but this is going to be the shot where Stan sees the house, and then where we see Stan going up the steps and into the house. So here's you a shot. This is what Stan would have seen. Well, this is kind of what Stan would have seen. He wouldn't have seen that over there past my hand, but he would have seen that, and that tree wouldn't have been there, or those bushes. But there would have been a big cedar-looking tree right here originally. Now there's apartments over here to my right. And it would have been out in this area where Stan would have been bird watching. Probably just on the other side of this bush in this area right here. And here's a little closer shot. Stan would have, this tree and bush wouldn't have been there, like I said, none of this. Would have been an old dilapidated looking house. But he would have went right up these steps, same handrail, same window, and right into that door.
He said he didn't mean to go into that house, but this voice kept whispering to him. And naturally, being Stan, he figured there was a rational explanation.
We've arrived here at the building used for the Derry Inn, where the group is staying when they've gotten older and they've come back to Derry to face it. And you can see it still looks the exact same. Still got the same, I guess you'd call it a little carport area where you can actually see Richie's Camaro, red Camaro, pulled right in here where he's getting his luggage and stuff out. The bushes are still here, even this window that's in the shot, because the shot is actually about like this, maybe a little further down. Don't want to go too far in, but this is essentially the exact same shot. And it's a nighttime scene. But this is it, the Derry Inn. What you see in front of you is where so many things have happened. This is the lake. This is, in real life, Beaver Lake. And just in front of you is where Pennywise lives, or would have lived. They built this facade on the other side of the lake, which would have sat right in this general area. It's also here in this area where Ben comes down and sees his father just standing right here in the middle of this lake with all this high grass. Now the grass back then, you would have seen more lily pads like these over here everywhere. Now the grass, and you got little brush trying to spring up, but he would have seen his dad standing there saying that, looking back over his shoulder at the facade that would have been built there, saying that was his new home.
Hi, Ben.
Daddy?
That's my home now, son.
And then Ben gets a little freaked out, has a skeleton try to grab his leg. And it's here also that the gang would have made their pact that if it ever comes back, that each one of them would return to Derry to fight it off again.
Swear to me that if it isn't dead, it will come back. Swear.
Now, of course, the group holds true to their pact, all with the exception of one. And as adults, they come back to fight Pennywise once again. Now our last shot here is after the epic battle. When they're here and Audra is lying on the ground and Eddie, who unfortunately didn't make it, is being carried on Richie's shoulders.
I guess that's how I'd like to remember us, if I could remember us.
Now, if you come here, this is a pretty popular hiking trail. Beautiful scenery, beautiful park. But it's probably been at least 10 to 15 minutes since we've seen anybody on the trail. So I feel like we're all alone out here. And that Pennywise might pop up at any moment.
So right through here, you would have seen Pennywise's storm drain, that big cement thing located right there. Really not much to line up out here. You can't see the overflow pipes anywhere out here that you can see in the movie. We do know there's a lot of lily pads and there's grass in the distance.
While we were walking the trail around Beaver Lake, I just happened to look over to the right and saw this. Dun dun dun, a random shoe just abandoned. Looks like Pennywise might be still out here taking victims.
We're here on the corner of 6th Street and Columbia Street. And this is the very end of the movie. This is the Bill and Audra hugging on the bicycle. Audra has been reawakened. They would actually start way up here through a neighborhood and come down this long hill. And as soon as they get right through here, you see Audra's arm kind of grab a hold to Bill's neck. And when Bill crosses this crosswalk, he slides the bike in. All the traffic stops.
Just hang on, it's okay.
And the camera actually pans up really high. Now the camera would actually be over here in this area, shooting this way. Because on your right side of your screen, you can see these windows. You can see this building that's actually more of a grayish white. And as it's shooting this way, we can see the edge of this building with these windows. We can see this little building that has a blue canopy back then that's now black. And you can see most of the building right behind you, even the little windows there. And it's shooting up this way, and you can see more of the hill and how long of a downhill slope that it is. Well, that does it for all things It. Stephen King's It, the original, 1990. It's over all the locations, at least all the ones that we have access to. Couldn't get the inside of the library, obviously, told you that. So, like I said, all the ones that we could find and all the ones that we could line up and have access to, you got it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Special shout out to our VIP patron, the Crip Lady. Thanks for your sponsorship each month. And if you'd like to sponsor us, help us out, keep us on the road, keep these videos coming, head over to Patreon and sign up, or subscribe here on YouTube, or be a subscriber on any of our social media. That would greatly help. Well, you got any last words?
No.
She never does. I don't even know why I asked. So, all right. Well, catch you down the road at the next exit.
Keep it spooky.
Later.